Hello, everybody. This is Greg from OSW Company. I want us to break down a lead generation case study and talk about why geo-targeting is super important and it's very critical if you're running ads and you want them to work properly, especially if you're a service-based business. This case study breaks down how I generated high-quality leads for a roofing company using targeted marketing strategies. I'll cover what worked, key challenges like local competition and seasonal trends, and how I overcame them to drive good results. So before we stepped in, the roofing company had a huge problem with their lead quality. A lot of the leads they were getting was very irrelevant. So it was outside of their service area, the wrong type of job, wrong income these leads had, and it wasted a ton of ad spend. And you know, and I know that every click, especially on Google Ads specifically, counts and it costs. So if it's not your customer, if it's not the ideal lead, then that's just money down the drain, right? And we don't want to do that, obviously. But you'd be surprised at how many companies run ads and they're not being specific enough, especially if they're a service based business that's only servicing one area. For example, if I was a barber, I wouldn't be running paid ads in Houston because I'm in the DFW area. So as you can see, it's kind of counterproductive here. You have to be very, very aware of not only who you're targeting, but where they're at, right? So that's a misstep that a lot of people do when running these ads. Just reiterating, the client was running ads through another agency, but without any real local market research. They weren't using tools like Google Trends to understand where the demand was, and as a result, their leads showed that essentially. They were just going all across the whole country when the client only services in 3 to 4 areas. Two areas are in the same state, but they're in different parts of the state. So you can just tell that they were just going for volume and not quality, and it backfired, which is a lot of companies. People care more about the lead count and the impressions, not realizing that it's the quality of lead that matters the most, especially in service based businesses. So, after carefully listening to the client and understanding which neighborhood drives the most value, we reconstructed the ad campaigns to target each region individually. This hyper local approach made it easier for us to tailor the ad copy and help people who are trying to find a solution to their roofing problem in their specific areas, making it tailored to them so people can feel like we have the answer. You have to get laser focused. Who exactly are we talking to? What part of town are they in? What do they care about? Things of that nature. It's good to have a more high level approach, even with Google Ads. A lot of times we have these shiny object syndrome, especially with a lot of tactics like, oh, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Meta Ads. But in reality, the real reality is that marketing strategy does not go anywhere, no matter what tactic. So it's good to make sure you know exactly where your ads are being served in. Most people actually skip this, and I get it. It's easy to overlook. But this step is where all the return on your investment is. Ironically, this little mishap. This is why I say strategy is important. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a little hard at first to run these Google ads in these little areas because targeting local areas can be challenging because the algorithm needs a little bit more time and a little bit more data, due to the fact that you're serving a smaller sample size, which you have to really rely on your ad copy in this situation because you can't rely on broad targeting. Excuse me. Your ad copy is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting here. Your headlines, your descriptions, and even your extensions, they all have to speak directly to your ideal customer in that area as a way to compensate because there's not a lot of data. There's only so many people looking for roofing in one little zip code, whereas there's millions of people, thousands of searches for roofing in the country worldwide, all right? But this is why I say you have to get real specific, and it does take a little bit more time, and it might take up a little bit more cost per click in the beginning because you're being so specific, right? Which is a very, very hard hurdle to go over. Nonetheless, after tweaking some of the keywords a little bit, we were able to get them high quality leads. 60 leads might not seem impressive at first, but remember the lifetime value of a roofing company, I mean, sorry, roofing customer rather, is super substantial. The client was actually able to close more leads and generating a higher return on investment, even with a smaller sample size of 60 leads. So previously, the client had the other agency get hundreds of leads in, and it seems like you're doing a good thing. But when you're on the phone and it's time to close, and that lead is on another side of the country or the wrong side of town, and you can't service them, then that's just a waste of your money and your time. When it comes to lead generation, quality beats quantity all the time. And when you're in a service based industry that's super competitive, you have to get specific and segment accordingly. And that's where the return on investment is. So, despite, working across four distinct regions and setting up the ad campaigns accordingly, we were able to give them really good results by leveraging geo-specific keywords and restructuring the ad account. The goal isn't to get more leads, it's to get the right leads. You can have 100 leads that go nowhere or 10 leads that actually give you a return on your investment. That's the difference between burning money and building momentum with Google ads, Facebook ads, etc. When your clients are qualified, everything gets easier. Your close rates go up, your money goes up, and your service, more importantly, is actually helping people who are looking for it, who desires it, and who needs it, right? You have to be specific out here, especially in this day and age where everybody and their grandma is running Google ads, Meta ads, and marketing in general. So it was really nice to see a return on this. I was super excited about this. If this gave you any type of value, be sure to come to our website, shoot me an email, info@ohw.com. I'll be happy to speak to you. If there's any other questions, be sure to reach out and talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.